trying to survive the best we can in our last moments.
I have that on recording.
I don't care. The world needs to know you're a monster.
Thank goodness the world knows.
Welcome back to Mindi and the Mic. Stop laughing!
But when you start going to the gym, give it a month and then you're going to be hooked. Give it 2 months and you'll be hooked.
Do you ever get into the gym, like especially when you went for that first week and you're like, what the heck do I do?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
I'm dying. Not really, but
He's diabetic, folks.
I am.
Online dating, fitness, boundaries, ghosting, cheating, therapy, childhood, confidence, fame, trauma. Hi, my name is Mindi, and I have a microphone, and I want to talk about some of these things. So, let's talk about them. Welcome back to Mindi and the Mic from Stigma to Connection. And today, I'm joined by two guests, Nolan and Conor. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what's new? Eat the mic, please.
All right. Sorry. My apologies. First time doing this. But got a new job, working on that over the summer, and then finishing my last semester, which I'll graduate in August.
Yeah, because you were graduating from UNL, right?
Yep, I'll be graduating. Just because I had to transfer over, so there was a couple extra things, and that's why I'm going into the summer and didn't graduate in spring. Kind of an L, but hey, we're dealing with it.
Yeah, and you're graduating with a community and wellness degree,
Yeah,
right?
I'll graduate December of 26 is my projected graduation date. So I have this summer semester and then fall, spring, and then one more fall, and then I'll be done. And then I might do a master's, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. And then I'm also studying for my personal training exam,
Oh, wow.
which should be done end of June. I should take that and be qualified to be a personal trainer.
And then you can really see anyone for personal training?
It's not a protected term or field. So like I could see people now. Anyone can see anyone now. It's just more about being more professional and have that like liability of like, hey, I know what I'm doing, but it's not like protected. You can say you're a nutritionist or a personal trainer. Anyone can do that.
Okay. Well, the reason I wanted these two on today, well, one, we grew up with each other, so it was a kind of fun little reunion. Don't shake your head. We are friends.
We've hung out before.
Oh my goodness. You guys are the most passionate about fitness and health that out of all the people that I know, you guys are really, really passionate about it. And that's saying a lot just because like I feel like in my field, a lot of people come to me and a lot of reasons why they're depressed or why they're sad is because like they want to get in shape, but they just don't know how. And so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about today is just overall about fitness and about how we can like just grow in fitness and to kind of ask you guys some tips about like how we can accomplish these goals. I wanted to ask, how did you guys first get into fitness?
Well, I've always kind of been in athletics, like playing basketball, baseball growing up, but I really got into the gym specifically with Connor and my brother Carter. It was a little bit after the COVID lockdowns had ended up. I know I think you and Carter were a little out of shape, and then I was just
Definitely.
incredibly self-conscious about how skinny I was. Like, I think at the time I was 16 or 17 years old. Or wait, no, in COVID lockdown I would have been 18 years old.
You were 18.
And then I think I weighed maybe 155, 160 pounds at 6'3". So I was skin and bones, and I just didn't want to continue thinking about myself as, oh, I'm going to be the skinny person all the time. I wanted to change that.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, I also like grew up doing athletics, so like basketball, soccer. I technically went to play college soccer for a semester, so I like had training there and that type of stuff. And then COVID happened, so I came back from that. I already decided not to go back to that school, transferred out, and basically spent like that whole like 2020, 2021 not doing anything. So I got like went from like college athlete to completely nothing. To then Nolan, Carter, and I were like, hey, we need to go to the gym. Like we kind of want to do this. So then we started going together, and yeah, I had the opposite thing of Nolan. Where instead of needing to gain, I needed to lose a lot of weight, and also just build up muscle and build up more athleticism. Yeah, we just started doing that, and we've been going, depending on where we're at, but like going together for pretty much that whole time. Sometimes by ourselves or training different areas, but generally speaking, for the last almost 5 years now. Yeah, almost 5 years now, training together off and on.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that it impacted your mental health in a positive way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because not that you guys were, I don't know, like growing up, I never saw you guys as maybe, like we hung out when we had a good time, but I like never really saw you like behind the closed doors of what your mental health was like before working out versus after working out. But I just, as a clinician, I probably assumed that it probably helped tremendously.
Oh, for sure it helped. It definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, what changed about your goals over time with working out? I know you said that you wanted to get bigger or gain
Mhm.
muscle, and you said that you wanted to slim down. Has those goals like changed throughout your time of working
Yeah,
out?
my goals have definitely shifted more. I mean, since I'm all trained to be like a personal trainer in the fitness and nutrition field, so now it's more of a I have my own goals, and then it's also a goal of like teaching and training other people. My own goals probably still at this point I've bulked up a good amount, so now I'm kind of looking to more like cut, probably improve more athleticism, flexibility, kind of looking at more longevity stuff now.
Could you define those terms like cutting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bulking, generally, you're in a calorie surplus. You're putting on weight. Your goal is to put on as much lean mass as possible. The only way to put on mass, though, is you have to be in some kind of calorie surplus, more than your whatever you normally eat to maintain your body. You have to eat a little bit more to gain weight of any kind. There's different kinds of bulking too. There's like dirty bulking, which is not a great thing. That's just eating whatever you want, and then just being like, yeah, I'll just eat and gain weight. Generally, it's much better to eat as clean as you can, but just up the calories, up the protein intake. Go from there. You won't gain necessarily as much. If you just shovel calories into your face, you can gain a lot more weight easily, I feel like. But
Yeah.
long term health outcomes is not going to be great. And then cutting is you're in a calorie deficit and you're shedding weight. Well, the goal is to maintain muscle mass as best you can while shedding fat. You technically can kind of try to like build muscle during that phase, but without having like a surplus of calories, you're not really going to be building. You have to have some kind of surplus to actually build, and you have to have some kind of deficit to actually lose.
Yeah. How about you?
My goals kind of have remained the same. Like even right now, I still want to get a little bit bigger. I will say I have kind of started leaning more into that longevity side of things too. Whereas when I started, and well, probably a year after I started, it was all about how much weight can I throw around as easily as possible. Which I mean, hey, it's still very fun, and I, try to do that every now and then. But it has much more become like I want to be as healthy for as long as possible. And a role model for me is my grandpa,
Oh.
actually. He is very active. He's actually the one who got us introduced into pickleball and that side of things. But
Ooh.
so he still plays with us all the time. But I look at him, I see how happy he is to just be playing with us and stuff. I'm like, I want to be able to do that with my grandkids.
How old is he?
Right now, I think he just turned 80.
Wow. And he's still playing pickleball?
He's still going. Like
That's
he's got that
crazy.
old man pickleball where he's, in the corners, but nasty shot. He'll hit you with a spin and it's over.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Do you have any like role models in your life that you probably looked up to about fitness?
Honestly, it's more just like, yeah, being around athletic people or seeing people that are older, I think, and not doing well and being like, that doesn't look fun. I don't want to
Yeah.
end up like that. So it's almost like the reverse of like seeing a lot of people who are older and not able to do stuff and not able to have fun and kind of being like, I don't want to end up like that. That seems like a terrible way to like live, especially like the last few years of your life. Or
Mhm.
maybe for some people it's like the last like 30 or 40 years. I'm like, that doesn't seem fun. I don't want to do that. So it's more of the reverse of being like, hey, I don't want to end up like that. Let me try to remedy the situation now.
Yeah, like seeing someone that's really struggling, or even to
Yeah.
walk or to get out of bed, doesn't seem the most
Yeah.
inspirational. Yeah, I look at my dad as an example. He's like 89 this year, and he's still trudging along the farm.
Yeah.
Your dad's insane.
He is crazy.
He'll like go on on ladders and cut down trees at 89, and my mom and my brother are like, Dwight, calm down. Please don't go up on another ladder. Still, but to your point, I think there's validity in seeing people that struggle even just to get out of bed at 22. And that's what, like a real eye opener of like, oh, we should probably get healthy. How has your guys' body image changed, would you say?
I'd say mine is definitely like I have definitely improved on that self consciousness. Like I can look at myself and be like, okay, we have made quite a bit of progress.
Mm-hmm.
But with body image, and I know a lot of people deal with this in the gym, and it's not like I don't have like the full on set like body dysmorphia thing,
Right.
but I still will occasionally look at myself in the mirror and be like, we're still like 2 years ago. That's where I'm at right now. And
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten better with it, obviously, but it was a positive increase for a long time. But also with that, there's like those little moments of like, oh, you're not making any progress, you're not doing anything, even though you're having people tell you like, you have gotten so much leaner, so much stronger, so much skinnier, whatever from doing this. It's just something where myself, I don't see that.
Yeah, I have to ask like both for you. Do people say unnecessary comments like that, even if they haven't seen you in a while, or if they seen you like maybe a month later, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look so big or you look so skinny. Do people say that to you guys?
No, I wouldn't call it unnecessary because it's been, or at least the comments I've gotten have been
Okay.
unnecessary. Mainly, it's just been from like my grandma, grandpa, and like
Okay, so
aunts and uncles I
family.
haven't seen in
Yeah.
a long time, and they're like, "Oh, you've gotten big," and I'm like, "Yep." I don't know how to answer.
Yeah, I think generally most people, I think that's more of a thing that girls have to deal with than guys. Guys usually don't receive much unsolicited. It's usually like some kind of compliment or
Unless
like,
it's from other men.
yeah. Yeah. Generally, I don't receive any like, oh, you're like you're out of shape or you're this or you're that. That doesn't really happen. But there is some compliments where people come up like, oh wow, you look really big and like your arms look really big, that type of stuff. But it's generally more positive. I think,
And
especially for,
negative?
yeah, I don't think it's ever really negative.
Yeah, maybe that is a girl thing because
I
I
think it's
know
much
I've
more.
experienced
It's
that.
much
Oh no,
more
yeah,
a girl
definitely.
thing. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I know people who have walked into the gym and either in the gym training, people come up and like start explaining to them like, oh, you should be doing cardio because you're overweight, which is insane. That's an insane thing to do. While someone's actually,
Someone said that?
yeah, not to me, but to like someone I know. They
Oh
like
my
told them they were like
gosh.
lifting. I think they were on a. I want to say they were on a leg press, and this guy like came up to her and he was like, "Oh, you're lifting a lot of weight there, but you should really consider some cardio. You really got to slim down and that kind of stuff." Which is an insane thing to say to anyone, but
Imagine
especially
if
to
he
someone
was
like
like
in the
trying to
gym.
hit on her.
Oh, I'm sure in his mind this was somehow going to work out where he was going to say that and she was going to sleep with him. I think that's
Oh
the
gosh.
only reason I can even possibly comprehend that he was trying this. I don't know why he thought that was going to work, but yeah, he was like fully like committed, somehow convincing her that she needed to like slim up and not be lifting weights and that cardio was where she really needed to go. It's weird.
Yeah, as a woman, I try to refrain from naming any kind of negativity about body parts, whether you're male or female, because I know as a woman, I've gotten comments before, which you guys know the story of someone told me that I needed to look a certain way in different areas, aka my stomach and like my chest, and it never goes well. So, long story short, I would just not comment on people's bodies unless it's positive. Yeah, yeah. What does a balanced day look like for you? Meaning that you probably like, do you wake up and work out and go to work and then go to school, or do you like spend a few nights working out?
My ideal is like I'm not an early morning person. Like I can get up, but I would prefer not to work out super early in the morning.
Really?
No, I'm not a morning workout person.
What?
Absolutely
I think
not.
that's a lie.
Me?
Yeah, because sometimes, what? Sometimes when I come over and like hang out with you guys,
And bum off our hospitality at home.
no,
and
it's called freeloading. And then,
she's a bum. Anyway, yeah, when she's like at our house for no reason. Yeah, sometimes
To
I get
hang
up, but I
out.
don't like work out like heavily or anything in the morning.
That's fair.
I can
Yeah.
like do other stuff, but I prefer like my ideal is like usually do stuff during the day, work, do whatever I need to do, and then early afternoon to evening kind of is where I would say my like ideal is. When I'm with this guy, he likes to work out like late, so then I end up working out with him like super late at night.
I'm assuming you're not a morning person.
Oh no, I am definitely not a morning person. But honestly, kind of same vibe. Wake up, do your work, do whatever you need to do for whatever day it is. But for me, I love the late time, like going to the gym. If I didn't have to wake up early for work, I would be going to the gym at probably 10 or 11 every single night.
What time did you wake up for work?
I have to wake up. I usually wake up around 7.
Oh my
So
god.
it's not bad. Well, it's just because it's like a 20-minute drive, and I like to be early and
Yeah,
like, get
yeah.
breakfast and stuff in beforehand. So it's not too bad, but because of that, I can't go to the gym at 11 anymore, which is a shame.
And also like time wide, like honestly, at least 3 days a week is kind of like the minimum goal is like, okay, hit 3 days a week. I'd like to go for like 5
Yeah.
is like preferred at this point. But as long as you're hitting 3 days a week, you're pretty much.
Do you guys notice if you like miss a workout?
Oh yeah, I want to go 5 days a week every single week if I can. I have to at least hit 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Like I know 3 is like I'll be fine, but if I hit 3, I'll like feel it and be like, okay, we gotta do something. So I'll end up working out on the weekends a lot too, when I usually use as my breaks.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, okay, I gotta get that 4th in.
Do you feel it?
Depends on what's going on. Depends on how if I'm like have nothing going on, yeah, for sure I would feel it. If I get like super busy, not necessarily as much. But I also try to like generally like especially around here, like I try to bike a lot. So when I'm going places, just normal commuting like biking, I try to go and like play sand volleyball or do different activities. like hiking. I was doing a lot of hiking before, just to like do different stuff for fitness as well, not just like, hey, I need to hit the gym. Mostly like, hey, I need to stay active and do something fun or interesting. Doesn't necessarily have to be the gym.
Yeah, that's a good question. What activities would you recommend if you're not like a gym person?
Well, volleyball is
Yeah.
a very good one, especially sand
Sand
volleyball.
volleyball,
Yeah, yeah,
Because
in
you
the
get some
summer for
resistance
sure.
in there. Basketball, a lot of sports
Any
are just
sport,
great
yeah.
for you.
Find a sport find a sport you really like doing and go play it. Try to walk and bike as much. If you can walk somewhere, do that. If you can bike a lot, do that. Hiking is good. If you have a dog, walk your dog, meet up
Hmm.
with friends. Anything like that that just gets you moving generally more. But yeah, find something you enjoy doing, some kind of sport or activity that you're like, I think this is really fun and I can do this with either other people or by myself, but it keeps me active is like the way to go.
Yeah, yeah. I always like to do yoga these days. Are there certain exercises that help you reset mentally?
Um,
Legs.
Honestly, yeah,
What do
legs.
you mean by that? Like squatting
So,
or
so like a leg day, which
Yeah.
squats, leg extensions, leg curls, like the whole deal. The reason it's legs for me over like a chest or
arms?
an arms or something is because when I do legs, even though I'm focusing my legs, I feel like I'm using everything to push stuff, especially during squats. I will just lock in on doing that because I have to do it right.
Right, right.
It's also just I feel like the heavier weight, like generally your legs should be your strongest part of your body. You should be able to move the most weight. For most people, that's generally true. You're gonna be moving the most weight. And it is almost like most of the exercises are almost full body. Like you're not just using it's focusing on your legs, we're using your core, you're using like some shoulders, maybe some arms to balance different things. So you're just using a lot of muscles and you're moving a lot of weight around.
Yeah. So when you guys have like a bad day, does working out actually help your mood?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
will frequently if I have bad days. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to the gym twice, or I'm
Yeah.
going to the gym 6 times a week or 7 times a week if I'm having a bad day on a weekend. It helps reset. It helps get me in that mindset of not having to think about.
Maybe not like maybe not what you think of kickboxing, but maybe I have the wrong term. But
I mean, do you have like a bag in front of you? Are you kicking like a punching bag type
that would
thing?
be a no. So it's probably not kickboxing.
I mean, it could be. I'm not really familiar with kickboxing super highly, but
Doesn't our friend kickbox though?
my friend,
Our friend,
oh,
Eddie.
I don't
She
know.
does. I think she does jujitsu.
I think jujitsu for sure.
Mhm.
I know she wants to do judo when she's down
Shout out to Medi.
She's strong as hell.
Facts.
I have friends and clients that like when they have a hard time, when they have a bad day, they just don't feel like working out. What like motivates you guys to get to the gym? Or like do you have any tricks or tips that you could share? I know it's like an innate drive to just go when you have a bad day.
At this point, it's harder because it's so a desire to do it, and like it's like, oh, I know this is gonna be fun and I enjoy it, but also having something to go with, like having a gym partner, makes it so much easier to be like, I've already committed to this. We're going together. We have a plan. I'm just gonna go and do it, and it's way more fun with a partner, especially in the beginning.
Accountability in the beginning is probably the biggest thing for people who are starting the gym. Having that person to just be like, hey, we're going to the gym. And even if you're having a bad day, it's like, all right, well, at least I'm going with them.
Right.
And I know it's kind of cliche and everyone says that or says this, but when you start going to the gym, give it a month and then you're going to be hooked. Give it 2 months and you'll be hooked. For me, it took a week. And I was like,
Really?
oh, yeah. I fell in love with the gym within a week. It was immediately like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. Like, it is going to be a part of my every single day if I can make it. Start going with someone, and that'll help a lot.
Yeah, but do you ever get into the gym, like especially when you went for that first week and you're like, what the heck do I do?
Yes.
Oh, 100%. We were lucky because Carter was going with us and he had done, I forget what kind it was, but it was essentially like a strength training program
Yeah,
with
yeah.
someone. And so he essentially took the plan he had from that guy and was like, hey, let's just replicate it here. I will say there are a lot of resources out there now of people who are just showing you the most basic tips and tricks of how to do the gym or just like how to do an exercise. Also, machines are so
Yes.
much better now. Pretty much every single machine, especially at Planet Fitness, if you look at it, it will tell you how to do the workout.
Good to
No,
know.
I'd say start with like if you're going by yourself and you don't know what you're doing, use machines. Just use machines. You don't need to do anything besides like machines that literally they'll tell you what to do. It's really hard to hurt yourself on a machine just because it's like it locks you into a position and you're just doing that position. You can't really deviate yourself. Like if you get into free weights, which is really good, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could definitely hurt yourself. Also, if you can, like having a trainer or joining a class, anything like that will be super helpful. It also helps with accountability. If you have a trainer, they'll like make a plan for you. You don't have to think about it. You just show up and they're like, okay, you're doing this many sets, this many reps, this much weight. I mean, you'll talk to them back and forth and you'll work on it, but you don't really have to think. You just go there, you show up, you do what they tell you to do. Then you're done. You get to leave and go home and they track your progress and all that stuff.
Yeah, what would you say to someone who's intimidated about working out for the first time? Like, I know you said that I think you guys had the benefit of going with each other.
Honestly, if you're intimidated by the gym, I would recommend going to a Planet Fitness to start off. A, it's really cheap. B, they are probably the most beginner friendly gym out there, mainly because there's almost like a stigma against Planet Fitness from the more toxic gym community
True.
where they're
Oh,
like, "Oh,
interesting.
yeah, if you go to Planet Fitness, you're a poser or whatever," just because it's like so much machines and like not a lot of free weights. But I think
Yeah.
that makes it a wonderful place for people to go who are beginning because A, it's very easy to learn there. And then B, you don't have that toxic gym community who's going to be judging you while you're there working out. It's like, oh yeah, they're not here because they think they're too good for this.
And then
Yeah.
also just online video. Like you can do workouts at home. Just doing like push-ups, pull-ups, anything like that. If you just want to work out at home for a little bit to get a little bit more comfortable, that's totally valid. And then you don't realize how everyone started from like the beginning. Like no one started lifting a crazy amount of weight to start with. You all think you go in there like I mean we when we first went to our bench press, we thought we could do way more. It's like, oh, the bar is actually pretty heavy. The bar in a 25 is a lot of weight. And
Yep.
you go in, you're like, oh, I think I could do like 45. Like, that doesn't seem too bad. No.
Hitting that 100 mark was a milestone.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone starts from like the bottom area. Like, you shouldn't feel bad trying to better yourself going into the gym and being like, oh, I can't believe I'm only lifting this much weight. I should be lifting this much. Everyone kind of goes through that. But then you realize really quickly, like, oh, weight's heavy. It's really heavy. I didn't realize how heavy this stuff is.
Yeah, yeah. How long do you guys usually work out then?
Usually, for when it's myself, it's usually an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when we're together, it jumps up to about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you
Same.
recommend for someone that's like a beginner?
Like workout wise,
Yeah.
focus on form. Form is the most important thing you're ever going to do. Make sure you're doing things correctly. Also, if you have any medical things, make sure you get it cleared with your doctor. Seek out help. Like if you don't know what you're doing, ask for help. Google it, YouTube it. And then if you're focused on movements, compound movements, so like your squat, your bench press, your deadlift, stuff like the big compound movements, focus on those first, focus on your form. Yeah, that's like the main. If you're doing that stuff, your everything else you can add in later. But if you focus on the big compound movements and you get that down right first, everything else becomes way easier later on.
That makes a lot of sense. And I wish I knew that when I first figured
Yeah.
out. I know from my side of like the woman culture of what it means to be fit, and there's like an expectation that you should look this way. You should be slim and be like not have a lot of like, fat hanging out. But on the guy side, I know there's like a pressure, would you say, to look a certain way?
The community for the gym has split now. Like
Oh, really?
it used to be a lot more, or at least I think it used to be a lot worse than it was before. But nowadays, especially with social media, because you're always getting bombarded with like, oh, these are like the peak humans. Like they look the best, and everyone's like, oh, if you're not doing like 220 or 315 is the new 225 and stuff like that, where it's
Yeah.
like kind of the, oh, you're not strong if you're not a man, if you can't do this, you're not, yada yada yada. But on the other side of things, I also think there's been a massive increase in gym influencers who are talking to the average person, being like, oh yeah, the video that you just saw, he's like, yeah, that's literally 0.1 of the population. He's like, what you're doing is enough. You guys going to the gym, he's like, you don't have to do X amount of weight, you don't have to do all this to be a man. You getting out of bed and walking to the gym, he's like, that made you enough. And it's a very positive side of things. So I do think there's a lot of really bad, like negative influences on social media, but I also think there's an equal amount of positive and good influences on there too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think we've seen an increase in like the positive and like more open talk about the gym. And there definitely is. I think there is another side of it too. Like you were saying, like there's definitely a side where people are like, oh, you need to be a certain weight, you need to be able to lift a certain amount of weight, you should look like this. Like if you don't look like this, you're actually out of shape. Which generally people that say that like they're talking about people who are ridiculously like they are like you said, like a 0.1% of the population. Like normal people don't look like that. And also lighting and a pump and
Trend.
yeah, trend and a bunch of like you can make yourself look crazy with just the right lighting and Photoshop and a pump, all that stuff versus hey, this is what you look like in like everyday life. That is those two things are not equal at all.
Yeah, yeah. I always hated the BMI.
Oh, the
Like,
BMI is trash.
yeah.
Not a
Say
fan.
more.
Not if I mean, we still talk about it in like my nutrition and like my fitness courses just because it is like industry standard. But personally, I don't
You don't
prescribe to it.
subscribe to it.
It can be so it's very helpful if you're an average height and weight male. That it works pretty well for that very specific population. But like, I'm not an average. I'm above average height. Nolan, you're above average height. Our results are already skewed, and it was only study. I forget what it.
Sheesh.
I forget who the original guy who did the study was like. He wanted to find like the average. I forget what military, but he was trying to find the average soldier's build. That was literally all he was trying to do. It was nothing to do with like body composition. He was just like, oh, I wonder how tall and how much the average soldier weighs in this one particular military, like over a couple hundred years ago. And then he made it, and then it became like a fitness thing. They also changed it like semi recently. So like a bunch of the population like went from being normal to being technically like overweight or obese because they decided to change it. Yeah, it's not a good measurement. It also doesn't take into account where your fat is. So like
Yeah.
this like the fat around your organs, that's super dangerous. People that are really skinny can have a lot of that fat. That's really, really dangerous. And then if you have a lot of presenting fat, but if it's all like not around your organs, just kind of like
It's
external,
like subcutaneous.
yeah, yeah, subcutaneous fat, that's not nearly as dangerous. And this is okay, grain of salt, but being overweight in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is a predictor that you probably have other health things going on.
Okay.
Generally speaking, on average, there are people who are like severely overweight who like their joints have impact and all this different stuff. But generally speaking, the reason we're scared of people being overweight is because it's linked to a higher risk for other diseases.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where you want to like be careful. And it is very and nutrition is also a super new field. We've barely started studying nutrition, especially again outside of like straight white males. Women has
Fair.
barely been studied like at all. They're starting to do more. We've done an okay job at maternity stuff, but besides after maternity, not really a lot of studying going on for women.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys take account for like what you're eating and sleeping? I'm assuming too, not just working
Yeah.
out, because I know that can be a big flaw. People will be focusing on the gym, but they won't see any change because like their diet's complete trash.
I mean, weight loss and gain is full. Like, how many calories are you burning in a day versus how many calories you're eating in a day? That's all weight gain and loss is. And everyone's slightly different. Generally speaking, eat a ton of vegetables, followed by protein and carbs. That's like your main. If you're ever wondering like what you should do, more leafy green vegetables. That's always the answer to that question.
Is there a food you guys won't eat at all?
Honestly, not
No.
really.
Okay.
I'll eat about anything, but I will limit myself heavily on certain things.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I guess alcohol is like the one thing I don't unless I'm like on vacation or like in a very special event. I haven't gone out to a bar in a couple of years, I don't think, really and got a drink. That's like the one thing. It just has no benefit. I said at special events, D&D is a special event. And also Gabe makes those and they're free. But yeah, like unless someone's making me drinks for free and I'm playing D&D very particularly in that scenario, then I drink a lot.
No one's over here like you're lying.
I don't go out and drink.
I mean, I was also smiling with that, and then also that's something I don't have in moderation as much.
Fair, fair. I did drink more when I first started like being 21, but also I just don't like I like mixed drinks. So that's the other thing. They're expensive.
Shanky's whip is cheap.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
Do you guys use pre-workout?
I don't. I do creatine and protein powder is not really it's a supplement, but not really a supplement.
Is it a scam?
Creatine?
No, protein powder.
No.
Like,
Look at what you're getting. Like make sure it just
Fair.
has what it says it has. Look at the ingredients list. It should just have like whey protein and some flavoring of some kind. It shouldn't have like a bunch of other stuff in it, or casein if you're going with casein.
Okay.
Yeah, if the protein powder tells you it does X amount of things outside of
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, you get like 30 grams of protein in a scoop, then be very hesitant of it.
Yeah, it's just giving you more protein. It's doing nothing else.
I do use pre-workout from time to time just because.
But not every day.
No, oh no, not every day. Mainly because I've heard there have been some people that when they do it every day, they become almost dependent on it. So when they're like going to the
Oh.
gym, they're almost too tired and they're like, oh, I need my start. I need to go. Or you can't perform as well at the gym because I mean pre-workout, depending on which kind you get, does actually help like stimulate blood flow. It stimulates you. I have done pre-workout and had really good days before. But I don't want to keep taking that every single day and then be like, oh, I can't even do my average without down on that.
Is pre-workout just like caffeine though in some ways? I know it's a stimulant.
It really depends on the kind you get. I think there's like some very basic like ghost ones that have no stimulants, no anything to like really get you going other than just caffeine, and it tastes like ghost energy drinks.
Okay.
But the kind I use, it's called Rise, and it's a high stim that kind of does everything. It gets your blood flowing. It gets you that what people like to call ants in the skin, which is beta.
Oh, I don't like that.
It's called
It
what?
feels the tingles and stuff.
The
Yeah.
Some people like it a
No,
lot.
I
really?
love the tingles.
No,
I
that-
love
for
them.
Pass on that.
But pre-workout is like all supplements, it's completely unregulated, so you have to be really
Yeah.
careful. Like, read the label and figure out why you're doing what you're doing, because generally speaking, the only thing, like only supplement wise that we actually have any study on is creatine. Creatine is the only thing we know, and again, only in adults. I don't know about I know for sure adult male there have been studies that it's effective. Adult female, I assume it's effective. I think they have done some studies on it.
Don't get the pink creatine. Just get the monohydrate. They are selling it to you for way too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do the one scoop, whatever the serving size is, just do that. Adding more isn't going to help you. Again, we have no studies if it actually helps with teens at all. Like, it might, but also they're growing and already changing a lot. So it's hard to say if it's beneficial, if they're even getting anything out of that. Again, we just don't have very many studies on this.
Do you buy locally or do you get this online? How do you guys get these products?
The kind of creatine I get, creatine monohydrate is the most like studied
Yeah.
one, and it's just optimum nutrition.
Okay.
And then for pre-workout, I just get Rise because they're as open with what they make or what it's made out of, so I can read the label,
It's
look it up, and be
transparent.
like, yeah, very transparent.
I just get, like, again, the creatine monohydrate. Whatever the Walmart, just looking at the branding and being like, okay, I don't care about the brand as long as it just has creatine monohydrate in it and whatever's the cheapest.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about buying these products is that they can like do really well in marketing, but the price is just unreasonable, you know? And I don't know the average amount of creatine or like protein powder, but
Is it a tablespoon or half a tablespoon?
I think so. Creatine lasts a lot longer
Yeah.
than your protein powder.
Protein powder
Okay.
goes fast.
Protein powder, it's what? Usually, it's always more inexpensive to buy protein powder than to buy protein shakes. Well, I mean, depends on sales, but usually.
Generally speaking.
do you guys think that the fitness industry supports men's like mental health and fitness overall?
I think kind of goes back to what I said before, where it's like that 50-50 split. But I do see a lot more. I mean, it could also just be my feed on
Yeah.
Instagram, but I do tend to see a lot more uplifting and
Encouraging.
encouraging. Just recently, there have been a lot of posts because it's men's mental health awareness. There have
Yeah.
been tons of posts of them dropping their regular content just to do like a couple videos a day about that
Mental
and just
health.
like talking to guys who are down or don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah. No, I think we're getting a nice mix now. I think at the beginning it was much more like kind of bro sciencey. Like, there's some really famous like example, like, what's his name? Oh, back in the day, like there was like a bunch of YouTube channels.
ZYZZ.
I don't know. No, it wasn't him.
King.
No, not him. It was Six Pack Shortcuts. I don't know if you remember him. There was like a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
those channels. Like, that was like the original fitness like influencer where these people,
I think I've seen those.
yeah, but that's like
100%.
where they would come in and they'd be like, hey, just do this like 6-minute workout every single day. And that definitely
Yeah.
was very predatory of like, that's not true. And clearly this guy is on gear. He is on a lot of gear and he's coming in like, yeah, just do the 6-minute thing like every day and you'll have a six pack. Don't even worry about it. Like, that was super predatory. And we still have a lot of that. But we also have a lot more mix of like, hey, here's some real trainers, here's some real people who are going through this and training. I'm dying. Not really, but
He's diabetic, folks.
I am.
You heard it here, guys. He's dying.
I am dying. This is my last will and testament.
This will be in the podcast. Do we have to take insulin?
No, that would make me die faster. Are you trying to kill me?
No, at least I paid you.
Like we said before, she's not our friend.
She's not our friend.
Anyway, what were you saying before you said you had to die?
I didn't say I had it. I said I was dying. What? I don't know. I was talking about the predatory influencers and how now we have a good mix of people who are like actually positive and doing real stuff and helping like set the records kind of straight and be like, hey, it's a lot of work. This isn't a normal thing. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, that's like on my end too, though. I'm looking at YouTube just for like, woman ab videos or yoga videos. They'll be like, do this for 6 minutes every day and you will get abs in a month.
Yeah, no.
No?
I mean, in theory, it's possible. If you severely restrict your eating, you can get abs really quickly because you have no fat left and your abs will be exposed.
Also, and then on TikTok, they'll like try to sell these like supplements. Like you're
Never
No.
buy supplements.
No.
The only supplements you should be getting is creatine, maybe a protein powder if you're at that point, and maybe a pre-workout if you want it.
And then like vitamins is the only
like
supplement
a daily. You don't need anything specific unless your doctor. If your doctor prescribes something, take it. But you don't need like these crazy things that are gonna like do something for you because they're not.
If
It's
a
a scam.
TikToker is being like, "Hey, buy my thing," don't do it.
Also,
Don't trust
again,
them.
nutritionist is not a protective term. Anyone can say they're a nutritionist.
They're lying to you.
They are. Well, they don't even have to be lying. Anyone can say that. Dietitian, a registered dietitian. If you ever have a question about what you should be eating or what you should be dieting, go to a registered dietitian. They are the only ones who can like actually make a meal plan for you.
It's crazy about how many people have opinions about if you should eat dairy or drink dairy. Yeah.
Calcium is really important. It's like the leading. What is it? It's like 3 cups of milk a day is like recommended through like childhood and adulthood to help prevent osteoporosis. It doesn't
Drink
have
your
to be milk, but you need to be getting your calcium. And milk is really easy to
And
do.
fats
with.
are good for you.
Certain
And
fats.
carbs are good.
Carbs are good for you. Again, you shouldn't be eating like 10,000 a day.
I know.
Generally
I
speaking,
just
but
think
yeah.
I think it's funny because when I see this stuff online, people are like, "You need to cut this out."
I've seen
This
people talk
is
about
cool.
like grapes being bad. Fruit has
What?
never been the enemy. Like cutting out grapes. Do you know that guy who was like, grapes are sugar bombs?
He's like, might as well eat a Hershey's bar. It's
Yeah.
like, I hated that man.
no.
I've never met him before.
Eating fruit is never the problem. If you're hungry and you eat, like, okay, don't eat like 1,000 grapes. But even if you ate a whole bushel of grapes, that's probably not your issue.
Man, I didn't know people were that against fruit.
People are really against carbs in general, like rice. People get really, or like even just regular
Or
basic
bread.
bread.
It's
Pasta,
crazy
too.
to me
Yeah.
that people like get all up in arms about chicken and rice, and they're like the big bodybuilders. And I'm like, bro, did you not see what Ronnie was eating?
Yeah.
You hate your king.
No, you need some carbs. There's some I forget the study. I think there was some talk about like marathon runners don't necessarily need as much carbs. They need more fats just because of the energy system they use. Since they use more like they're burning energy for a longer period. But again, you still need some carbs, or your body will take it from other areas and it will damage you.
Jeez, I just don't like it that we have such misinformed human beings.
That's every human.
Yeah,
Every human is a
that
fool.
is true. Who supports you guys when you are struggling? This is more like the mental health side.
I mean, I think for me, friends obviously is like one. Going to therapy, like now especially, I'm like, okay, I have exercises that I do that help, like just mental health exercise, and then also working out, like going outside. Honestly, just going for walks is huge. If you're not feeling well, just getting outside and walking or biking is super helpful.
Getting out in nature is a godsend, literally.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
going into the forest and just smelling the trees and the flowers is elite. But I mean, also kind of with Connor, like family, friends, the gym, just a solid support system all around.
And then as a guy, how do you balance like independence of support too? Because I know there's a lot of stigma with like men's mental health, of like guys shouldn't reach out for help, etc.
I think as a man, it is definitely hard to break that stigma, and I'm trying better to do that. But I think a huge thing is just you choose one of your best friends.
Yeah.
Or you choose your brother if you have one, or your sister, or just one person. Because there is no shot that I will go up to my dad or my mom and tell them some of the things that have been going on that's like, oh yeah, it's been messing with me. But I'll go to Carter and I'll
Okay.
talk to him about it and be like, hey, yo, this is going on. Hopefully one day I will be able to do that. Like go to my mom and dad and be like, hey, I've been dealing with this stuff. But for now, Carter is my person. But that has helped a lot.
Yeah.
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 I think, yeah, just realizing that there is these problems and trying your best to overcome them, and then also being available for your friend. Don't like you don't have to lay everything out bare immediately, but being available for them to be able to help them, and then also going to them and be like, "Hey, I'm not doing it," or explain like how am I feeling. I think also just practicing the language. That's something I know I've been working on a lot. I have feelings we'll literally tape to that wall over there of like trying to
Oh yeah,
get
you do
used
have
to
that.
like being able to express them and explain exactly what, instead of just being like, "Hey, I'm not feeling great." Really dig down, like, okay, explain why, explain, be able to talk about it and actually name things. I think that's huge. I think that's a problem for a lot of guys. You actually don't know how to talk about it. You don't know actually how to express what you're feeling in a correct way. You're more like, oh, I'm not feeling well. And that doesn't really do a whole lot. That's very vague.
Yeah, yeah. And just the fact that you guys are trying to break out that stigma too kind of says something and it's just helpful for you ultimately, benefits you. What's one thing you wish more people understood about fitness and mental health? Maybe more fitness too.
With fitness and mental health, truly how impactful it can be on your mental health, like how much it can help you in the long run. Because I think people will say, oh, go to the gym and it'll help with that. And people like take that and like, oh yeah, it'll make me a little bit happier. I mean, it is different person to person, but for me personally, it was a massive impact and
Yeah.
has helped so much.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I think a big thing is one, it takes time. Everyone seems to think or want this to go really quickly. This is a long process. This is not a you will see gains in the beginning faster, but even then, like it's still going to take you a long time to see like massive improvements or massive changes. This is not going to be like a one and done type thing. And again, it's more of a lifestyle thing than a you're not going to do this for 3 months and be like, yep, and I'm done forever. This is a
Mm-hmm.
lifelong, again, it doesn't have to be like a prison type situation. You can find things, you don't even have to go to a gym to be fit. You can find a sport you really like and just play that sport. There are plenty of people who do that that are like, hey, I don't want to go to the gym, but I love playing basketball. So I play pickup like every single day for an hour. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
That it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the gym. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. I know people can get some crap online for doing some really weird workouts. I remember there was this lady, she was doing this hula hooping workout, and there was some people giving her crap. I'm like, why? And I did see there was another on one of those positive gym guidelines talk. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like she's found something that's fun for her and she's being active. Why do you care? She's having fun. Like just find something that's fun for you and that
Yeah.
you can like enjoy doing that gets you active. If you can find something with other people, I personally that helps me a lot and I like doing that. But yeah, just find something fun.
How can you tell if someone is overtraining at the gym?
They died. No, I mean
Stop.
technically yeah, but like
Yeah, that's an extreme case.
Or if
I
they're burnt out.
Burnt out, I mean, that depends on the person, like what it
Yeah,
looks like.
everyone presents differently.
For overtraining, I can use myself as an example. When I was kind of in those really low dips in my mental health, I would use the gym almost as a way, not even as an escape, but as just like I'm not going to deal with anything anymore. And those days I would be at the gym for 3 to 3.5 hours.
Oh wow.
And realistically, 30 to 45 minutes will do everything you need for a workout.
Absolutely.
Like an hour to an hour and a half is like, that's me being like, I like being here, so I'm going to stay longer, do a few more things. But yeah, I'd be spending 3 hours in the gym every single day for 5 to 6 days a week. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that was not a healthy relationship with the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think like one of the ways you can tell, I'm trying to remember my actual study material. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that like your resting heart rate will like can increase like while you're not doing anything. Like your body will be like trying to like essentially recover. Also just feeling tired like all the time. Like never feeling well rested, even if you get as much sleep as you think you need. That can be something. Sometimes also just not being able to sleep could be a result. Like you're so either in pain or so sore you're not able to sleep properly, so you're not able to recover. But I believe, yeah, your resting heart rate is like a really good way to tell if you're just rising just while you're not doing, like if you're just sitting around all day and that's all you've done all day and your heart rate is elevated. Yeah, that's a pretty good sign that your body is not okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Nolan, how did you kind of like take a step back then and you're like, oh, I probably am overdoing this?
It took a while, and I think eventually the only reason I was able to break out of that was when I started going to UNL. Or no, it's when I started going to the gym with Jake, because I was at the time, I think you were in Omaha during this
Yeah.
time, and then Carter was in Nashville. And so I didn't have anyone that I was working out with.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends were just gone at that time too. That's
Yeah.
when I was still in at Northeast.
Oh yeah, wow.
And
That was a
so
while back.
when I was at Northeast, it was like Josh was in Omaha, Levi was in Iowa State, and then Eric was in Omaha too. So I had like no one here. And after a while, I just like started hitting up Jake, being like, "Hey," or no, he hit me up once to ask if I wanted to go to the gym with him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then we just started going consistently, and we would only be going for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think after going with him for like 1 to 2 months, I just started doing that on my own, where I was like, okay, now we're going back down. Like he showed me intensity in workouts and kind of change, because I used to be like, oh, we're gonna do like 10 to 15 reps for every single set, which is okay in certain scenarios, but he was doing like 6 to 8, and it would take less time, but it would be way more intense. And I think I was always chasing the feeling of like, I want to be completely dead after this workout. Like I don't want to be able to walk, I don't want to be able to lift my
Oh
arms.
geez. Yeah.
But I was able to get a portion of that with the way Jake was doing it, and it felt better afterwards. And I think I just took that and was like, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So was it like some cardio in that too, or is it mostly just intensity?
No cardio.
Never do cardio.
No, it was
Cardio is really important. You should do cardio.
yeah, I skip it too much. That's what volleyball's for.
Facts.
That is true. That's why you go outside, go in nature. I don't know if you run in nature though.
You running.
Trail running can be very fun, but I would highly recommend don't do it in areas where there's lots of rocks and turns, because I have seen people crash.
Yeah. So what makes a good gym partner or accountability partner?
I mean, just a good friend, best friend if you can, because they're going to be the realest ones with you by far. The amount of times you've called me out, I've called you out, Carter has called both of us out, has just been very helpful.
Yeah. Nice.
And then also just reaching out and being like, hey, let's go do this and making a plan. I think that's really big. I mean, like, we're doing this
Initiating.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just knowing, like, hey, even if I don't feel like doing this, we're going together. I've already committed to going with them. So at least I'm going to go out and do that. Even like if I'm not feeling great and you're like, hey, I'm going at this time, I'm like, fine, I'll go at that time, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I actually have a really good time and feel way better when I do this. That's super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then finally, what would you tell your younger self about working out? and
Invest in
fitness?
Bitcoin. Sorry.
No, it's not even about fitness.
It's gonna be like, what the freak?
Yeah.
Eat more food.
Honestly, just start earlier. Focus on stretching a lot more. Focus on mobility a lot more, because I still like I've been doing more work about that now. But even now, I'm like, dude, I'm so unflexible and unmobile, and that's something that I want to work on
You can
a
do
lot
yoga.
more. I do yoga.
Yes.
Okay.
I did yoga before you did yoga.
Okay.
He was
sorry.
on that grind.
On
Okay,
that grind.
Oh my.
Me and all the middle-aged moms.
I don't even know what I'd say to my younger self, to be honest, because I started young enough to where I was able to fix a lot of the mistakes I was doing. So, like the
That's
form
fair.
and the stretching.
Yeah.
When I started, goodness gracious, we do not talk about that squat form.
Ooh.
But there was
Yeah.
a switch where I was like, oh, wait, what if I started going for depth on my squats? And I was like, oh, I just cut the weight I can do in half. It was kind of a joke at first, but honestly, really focus on the diet.
Okay.
Because I think when I started going, it was mainly just like, oh, it's all about how much weight you can move and how quickly you can do a XYZ, whatever. But I never really considered or focused on the diet
Yeah.
until like this last year and a half, 2 years. and I've really seen an increase in my weight and maintaining weight, which is a problem for me, and then also just like the size I've been putting on.
Yeah.
And since that was the goal from day one, is like, yeah, focus on the diet. Either if you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, it is one of the most important factors.
Sweet. So where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Please don't. I don't want to talk to any of you.
Okay.
You'll never find me. I'm deep in a block off space now. Actually, by the time you hear this, Mindy's probably killed us both.
Yeah, the $25 was a lie, people. It was a lie.
It was a lie. Never. If she ever asks you, don't come on the podcast.
It was a lie. What do you mean? I did pay you.
We're being held hostage.
This place is rigged to blow.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna leave, and we're all gonna die. Yeah. So it's been real, but
I have to make this podcast explicit because you guys are making it explicit.
In Minecraft. There you go.
In Minecraft.
We saved it.
We saved the day.
I don't know. I'm on Instagram and Snapchat. I'm not gonna throw them out there. If you find me, I might accept your follow.
That's fair.
So
I'm not on social media currently, but
good for
maybe
you.
eventually I will. I will be once because I do need to make a professional.
Yeah, you're gonna start a business.
Yeah.
Get that blue unicorn back on.
Blue unicorn baking. Follow that. That's a terrible.
Blue unicorn baking and blue unicorn fitness.
Blue unicorn fit. I could do that. That could be my brand name.
Dude, and you have protein-based ones?
Ooh, I did make a protein ice
Okay,
cream
now
that
they're
one time.
fanning out.
We're fanning out on my baking Instagram. Blue unicorn baking.
Blue unicorn,
What's
blue
your
unicorn, blue
email?
unicorn.
Nichols W Conor. So it'd be NICHOLSWCONOR @gmail.com.
And Connor is soon offering classes.
Yeah, not classes, personal training. I'm not going to do fitness classes.
You could.
Send
I
him
could.
zip bombs. Send him
Don't
so many
send me
zip bombs, and
I'm
just be
not
like,
opening-
this is my meal plan. Is this good?
I will not be giving meal advice. I can give nutrition advice, but I will not be making meal plans because I'm not a registered dietitian, and that's illegal.
Good for you. Way to upkeep the law.
It's also just easier not to do that.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions. Okay, so just answer them as fast as you can.
Gotcha.
Okay, who's the last?
Are we each answering both of them or just one at a time?
You're both answering them.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Who's the last person that you called?
Carter.
My mom.
Morning person or night owl?
Night.
Deadlifts or donuts?
Deadlifts.
Deadlifts.
First thing you do when you wake up?
Take medicine.
Take a piss.
What's your toxic gym trait?
Not wanting to go 24/7. I don't know.
Failure for everything.
Coffee order if you drink coffee?
Caramel macchiato.
Americano with a little bit of honey.
Wow. Go to workout genre for music.
I don't listen to this stuff when I lift.
You don't? What?
He's insane. Heavy metal.
That's okay. Favorite cheat day meal?
I just like baking. Go to blueunicornbaking.com and check out my cakes.
Ditto. Go to blueunicorn.com.
No, go to Instagram. I lied.
Oh no. You gotta make a website. Cream puffs.
Are you more disciplined or go with the flow with the gym? Like routine, I should say.
Routine. I mean, we kind of have a plan, so I guess more disciplined.
More disciplined, but I'll let it flow every now and then.
Yeah.
What's one red flag that you ignore about yourself?
Red flag about myself. I'm diabetic.
How was I red?
You know. If you know, you know.
He had a red button on his phone before. That's close enough to a flag. I
Yeah.
think. Red flag. That I'm too perfect. No.
Factual.
It's that I hate myself sometimes. So
Also factual.
And then
Too real for that.
finally, what's your weirdest gym pet peeve that other people do?
That other people do. Using the squat rack wrong. Don't back into it. Like, that's not safe. Stop it.
don't curl in the squat rack.
Also, that too. Squat. Do anything that a power rack is for.
Besides curling?
Curling is not. You can curl literally anywhere.
There's so many curl bars. Just why do you have to go in one of the 3 squat racks?
Caveat, unless you're doing like 225, in which case you can do whatever you want. If you're curling
Oh, yeah,
225.
if you're curling 225, then hey, sir, the gym's yours.
Anyway, thank you guys for coming on Mindy and the mic. I do appreciate, despite all some of the humor.
You appreciate it.
We know you appreciate it. We know she called us desperately, crying,
I
begging
gave
us.
you
dude.
money to be on here.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And now I'll have to give other people money because I said this online.
Yeah, that's
Well,
actually that's dumb of you.
We're saying allegedly.
Yeah, that's
Run
true.
with the bit.
I allegedly gave you money.
Yeah.
But she actually did
But
give
she
us
did
money.
give money.
Oh, okay. Thank you for being a mini in the mic.